What's up, everybody? Welcome to Way of Fishing. Coming to you from the beautiful swamp right now. This is a user requested video. So, had one of my subscribers reach out to me. He and his wife just moved to Virginia, and he just found my YouTube channel, went and found my Facebook, and he sent me a message. And I want to help him out because they have a very specific request. They're from the West Coast. They're from California, just moved here to Virginia. They're down in the Tidewater area. He lives near a lake that's full of cypress trees and grass, and he wants to catch some fish. They bought a tandem Hobie, really nice boat, and 2 fishing rods, but they don't know, they're not familiar with our style of fishing, with our species. Everything's different. He just asked, what can I do? So without buying a lot of equipment, and this is a video I probably should have done a while ago. Another YouTuber up in DC, he fishes for a lot of catfish. He's like, man, I can't catch a bass to save my life. So hold on, let me move. There's a foolproof method to catching a bass, in my opinion, and you've seen it on my channel a lot. It's a staple of my fishing, and that's going to be the Charlie Brewer slider worm. So you say Charlie Brewer slider worm, but what it is, it's not the worm. It's a whole slew of versatility, really, and it doesn't require very heavy tackle. It doesn't require great casting accuracy or knowledge of different casting techniques. It's really extremely easy to fish. Matter of fact, it's one of the, I'm looking for snakes, I've already seen one. It's one of the first baits that I ever truly taught Fishing Kid 06 to use, because of the fact that it's so easy to use. I don't know why more people don't use it. It's something that I developed as a staple in my arsenal back when I used to tournament fish. James Vick, who you'll see on the channel this year, absolutely whopped me one day in the back of a creek. There was nothing I could do to get a bite. And I mean, he was getting 10 to 1 on me. So we're gonna cover slider worm fishing. And again, this is specific. This is user requested. This is, I don't have a whole bunch of gear. I don't have a whole bunch of specialized casting skills, and I want to catch fish, and I want it to be uncomplicated, and I want it to work. So, sorry, I got all these crazy little swirling winds today out of every direction. So that's what we're gonna cover real quick. So what I've got sitting on my lap is my slider worm box, okay? So I keep all my slider worm gear in the soft sided tackle box. You can put it in whatever you want. The root of the slider worm, the root of the system is gonna be the hooks. I really want the boat to stay still, and that's not gonna happen. I haven't had a boat stay still all day long. Just keeps putting my rods in the trees. All right, hold on. Pause. Shorten this rope some. Got you now. Okay, we're back. So the basis of the slider worm, of my slider worm fishing and the Charlie Brewer system, is the jig head. So for you guys, and I'm specifically talking to you guys now, you bought very light action rods. Slider worms, typically anything over 10-pound test, you're overfishing the hook anyway. So 6 to 8, 6 to 10, 4 to 10, you could get away with this technique. So a couple of different hooks, and I'll put some still images, and everything I talk about I'll link in the bottom. I'll link everything you need to go out and do this. So here's the first one. This is an 1/8 ounce slider worm with a bronze hook, okay? The bronze hook is a really light wire hook, all right? I can bend this with my fingers. This will penetrate with very little force, okay? The other style of hook that you could get is a pro hook. So this is a slider pro hook. That's a stouter hook. The metal, and you can't really see it too good on this GoPro, but this metal is a lot thicker than this one. It's a stronger hook. It's not going to bend out as easy. This is better for lighter rods, and very good hook setting technique. This one, you still need a lighter rod, but bad technique, you won't bend it out as much, okay? But either way, slider fishing requires a specific hook set, which is not hard to learn. So you've got the light wire and the heavy wire. This is a pro model. This is a spider head, all right? The other thing you can get to throw some versatility in the mix is gonna be that one, okay? So that's a flat head with a vertical line, with a 90-degree line tie. Still, it's got a bronze light wire hook. Pulling this through the water, when you kill it, it causes a shimmy. The head actually makes the worm move differently, okay? All of these will be linked below, and all of these can be fished on a light action rod. So a rod without a lot of backbone, with a lot of tip, you could actually fish this. The original story goes that Charlie Brewer took, I think it was Ray Scott and Bill Dance or somebody, and gave them crappie rods to go bass fishing for smallmouth, and they didn't think it would work, and they were catching smallmouth on ultralight rods using slider heads. They come in different sizes. That's a bigger hook, all right, 3/16 ounce weight with a larger hook. You can get a lot of variation, but for the foundation of what I want you to do, the hooks are linked below, okay? I won't link the ones I don't want you to get, all right? So let's take one of these hooks just for demonstration purposes. Now, the cool thing about a slider worm, fishing this, you can swim it, okay? You can hold your rod up and just reel it back slow. You can shimmy the rod tip as you reel it. If you come across brush, this is gonna be Texas rigged. I'm not gonna go over Texas rigging in this video. There's plenty of videos on the internet about Texas rigging. You can Texas rig it so you're not gonna spend the day hung up and frustrated and angry because it's Texas rigged, okay? If you're swimming it back and you come across a brush pile, you can drop it. You can fish it immediately like a bottom rig Texas worm, Texas rig worm. You can cast it into the brush and let it sink and crawl it through the branches. Once it's out, you just pop it and you can swim it back, okay? If you cast it out and keep the rod tip high and burn it, you can fish it just under the surface for fish that are up at the surface schooling. This, you can skip it. You can fish it around bridges. You can fish it around brush piles, beaver piles, cypress trees, which you got a lot of in the lake you're fishing. You can fish it around sparse grass, not a lot of heavy grass. Open water, deeper water. Just let it sink more. I fished this in 30 feet of water around bridges because the bait is going to imitate a small minnow. So let me show you some of the baits that I would use. This isn't a Charlie Brewer slider worm, but this is a small 4-inch finesse worm. So anything in the 4-inch category, small crayfish can be rigged on this, small salamanders, small worms. That's why it's the most versatile. This is why it's the one I'm telling you guys to get. You can buy a bunch of different small plastics and use the one rig on the one rod and fish them all, okay? So little bitty red, and this is one of the dynamite colors, red and black. This is called red shad 4-inch worm. So I'm just going to rig it real quick, and again, you can go on the internet and find videos on Texas rigging, and it'll show you how to do it. I'm so busy talking, I messed it up. So when you Texas rig, that's what you come up with, okay? So coming through the water, you got a worm that's doing this. As you play with it, that little tail's going to pop around and move and that sort of thing, okay? This is absolutely dynamite. I've caught bass up to 7.5 pounds on this, but it's not going to exclude small fish. You guys are trying to go out and just catch fish. This will catch crappie. I've caught crappie on this. This will catch bowfin, pike, bass, smallmouth bass, spotted bass. If you drop this in front of a catfish, he'll eat it too. So one bait to give you the greatest chance of catching a bunch of fish, Charlie Brewer slider worm, okay? 4-inch zoom salamanders, 4-inch crayfish, 3-inch crayfish, 4-inch finesse worms, small tubes, giggy sticks. The list goes on and on and on and on. So I hope that this video helps. let me know if you have more questions. The only other thing I do need to show, so the last thing we need to go over is going to be the hook set. All right, when you're fishing a slider worm, I'll use this rod. When you buy a medium action 6'6", 7-foot rod, then we'll go over pink worm fishing. All right, so if this was my slider worm rod, okay, got your bait out there and you're reeling it. The hook set, let's see if I can turn this camera in. All right, my hook set's gonna be, I'm reeling it and you feel the bite. You're not gonna snatch right away. It's not like, oh, I got a bite and snatch, okay? You're gonna be reeling it, you feel the bite, and you're gonna let them have it. Let the rod, bring the rod down and slowly wind in your line until it's tight, and a sweep parallel to the water. So you're gonna wind down to the fish and give it a steady pull. Once you feel the weight of the fish, you're gonna keep pulling. It's kind of like with baseball. People say with baseball, they say swing through the ball. When you reel down and you're gonna go that sweeping left hand or sweeping right hand hook set, you wanna load the rod up. So if I turn the camera again, when I set the hook and do that sweeping hook set, the rod's gonna bow. I'm gonna pull that rod back and I'm gonna keep that steady pressure on that fish, okay? It's not a, it's a, and you pull, all right? The sideways sweeping hook set is phenomenal. And it's really the only hook set that you should use when you're fishing with really light line, because it doesn't require power in the rod and you're not trying to move the fish vertically through the water column. You're pulling him through the water. So it's a phenomenally effective hook set when fishing with light line. If you go back and look at my other videos and you see me throwing a shaky head or a slider worm or Ned rig, even my pink worm, you'll see me use that hook set. I very rarely reel down and go straight up with a spinning rod unless the fish is positioned right underneath me. I save that for jig fishing and pitching and creature baits, right? Heavy flipping tackle. But when I'm using my spinning gear, I'm gonna wind down and I'm gonna pull through to the side. Phenomenal hookup ratio. It gives you great control of the fish too, because that fish isn't coming barreling straight for the surface to leap. You've got the rod bowed up and your hand is on the reel and you've got tension on that fish and you can keep it going, you can control it. If it's a big fish and he goes the other way, you've already got the rod loaded up so that it won't shake it. Again, the foundation of what you're trying to do with the tackle that you have fishing for largemouth bass, a really big bluegill will actually hit this too, but you're fishing for largemouth bass, chain pickerel, bowfin, you're just out on the water with your wife, and you and your wife are trying to just catch some fish and have a good time and be out on the water. Charlie Brewer slider worm. Again, if you're watching this video and this information is beneficial to you, everything's linked below. Following those links actually does help the channel out. Those are affiliate links, so I do get some kickbacks from Amazon for them. Charlie Brewer slider worm. It works so good that I have 2 rods, and I bought a rod for my son that is dedicated to only never ever have a slider worm tied onto it. I always have a 1/8 ounce slider hook on that rod. I never take it off. I don't tie anything else to it. You can, most recently this spring, we actually put the small 4-inch swimming fluke with the thumper tail. We actually put a small 4-inch swimming fluke on it and it caught a fish. It is so absolutely versatile. You don't have to worry about getting hung up. You don't have to be a great caster. It comes through everything and it catches everything, okay? Can't stress that enough. I'm still looking for snakes. That was a big snake. Wasn't venomous, but it was big. I just don't want one to drop on me in this kayak. So I hope that helped. I'm setting up my Patreon account, so maybe if you guys like this type of video, we'll set up something where you guys can request private specific technique videos, or help with some problem that you have, right, that you don't want to be public. So comment, ask me whatever questions you guys have, and I'm gonna get back to fishing. So everything's linked below. Tight lines, guys.